Welcome back to JetKoa Sports. We had a big weekend, at least in my life. My birthday was Friday, Final Four games on Saturday, and a wonderful Easter brunch has me feeling pretty refreshed and ready for another week. I'm going to start today with the NCAA Championship game. It is tip-off is right now as I record, so I will be catching the tail end of Michigan versus UConn when I get out of here. But, yeah, let's start with the Michigan versus UConn National Championship. UConn is playing for their third championship in 4 years. If they win right now, this would be a dynasty, I guess. It's quite interesting in college basketball because you don't have a lot of the same players year in and year out. But Dan Hurley has that program cranking and playing fantastic basketball. I think they've advanced further than most people expected this year, and that's a direct credit to Mr. Hurley and the leaders he has on that team, and the freshman from Indiana who's been just hitting massively huge three-pointers. UConn is 6-0 in national championship, men's NCAA championship games. So they do have history on their side. They don't lose when they make it this far. And all of that is fantastic, but ultimately I think tonight comes down to UConn's ability or inability to control the tempo of the game and hit three-pointers. Something that Michigan's losses have exposed. They didn't lose many games this year, but when they did not control the tempo, and their opponent was hitting threes. So that's the blueprint, right? Now, that's a lot easier said than done. But if UConn can slow this extremely fast and extremely tall Michigan squad and turn it into a dogfight, then UConn has the leadership and the experience and the coaching to get this done and win another title. Michigan, on the other hand, has been on a historic run this tournament, winning every game by double digits. They actually have averaged, I think, a slightly over 21 points victory margin in all games in this tournament, which is absolutely crazy. I mean, it's the NCAA tournament. They just played against Arizona, who everybody was saying was the top, was the second, third best team in the country. And Michigan dismantled them. Arizona's a very good team that just looked outclassed by Michigan. They didn't have the speed. They didn't have the size. They didn't have the motor to hang with Michigan at all. I remember watching the Duke-Michigan game earlier in the year, and I am a Duke fan. I picked Duke to win this tournament, and I was happy when Duke won that game, but I remember thinking in my head, this Michigan team is good, and they probably have a shot to win it all. And here they are, playing in the championship. They easily beat Arizona without their top dog, Lendenborg. He played less than 15 minutes. So Michigan has a lot of talent elsewhere besides this guy. And hopefully they get him back tonight at full strength, and we get to see both teams at full strength, which is always the best case scenario in all sporting events. UConn's edge, I would say, is coaching. Dan Hurley and his headbutting ways. That is their advantage. And so we'll see what happens. I think Michigan will pull it out. Speaking of headbutts and concussions, let's go ahead and move on to the NFL. It's the offseason in the NFL. We've been kind of going over different free agent signings, different kind of things like that from video to video. And today I'm really just going to stick with the Dallas Cowboys and the George Pickens situation and the Cowboys offseason in general. The Cowboys always do this dance, right? They sign their smaller free agents. They re-sign them quickly, get that done. They usually don't play around too much in the free agency market, although they did make some signings on the defensive end this year, which they needed to. But none of them are moving the needle. They're all pretty small signings. So this Pickens thing is the news for the Cowboys offseason, right? And Jerry Jones is going to milk that like he does every year. We're going to spend months talking about George Pickens and whether they're going to pay him, whether they're not going to pay him. And that's what Jerry likes to do. He likes to keep the drama high. He likes the Cowboys offense to be a high-scoring machine. And he wants the Cowboys to be relevant. So his team is the highest valued sports franchise in the world. All of these things are good, great things for a franchise. And Jerry Jones is fantastic at all of those things. But winning the championship is not at the top of his list. So what we're dealing with Pickens, like this is all just drama that he wants. Now, they did put a non-exclusive tag on Pickens, so other teams can talk to him and talk about a long-term deal, and they would have to give the Cowboys 2 first-round picks to make that happen. That would be awesome value for the Cowboys if they could get 2 first-round picks for Pickens, especially when they did not trade much away to get him in the first place. But ultimately, I don't see anybody making that deal, so he's going to be on the Cowboys next season. This is all a bunch of drama for naught. It's the Jerry Jones way. They made some signings on the defensive end that were fantastic. Rashawn Gary, Jalen Thompson, some cornerbacks, Kobe Durant, another safety, PJ Locke. Like, they got some positions they need. Their cornerback position is in flux right now, so they need a bunch of them to cycle them in and out and see who's going to stick. Their defense in general just needs a lot of help. They did go sign a couple defensive tackles, which I find a little interesting because they have 3 pretty good defensive tackles already. So I'm not quite sure what they're doing there. And then they went inside Sam Howell to be QB4. They didn't need another QB. But just Jerry Jones doing a bunch of stuff that's not going to help you win a championship. I used to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. And a few seasons ago, I ultimately decided that Jerry Jones and I want different things. Like when you're in a boardroom and the leader of the company's end game, his goal, his mission is different than yours, there's only a couple options, right? You got to convince them to see things your way. You have to get in line, or you have to decide to leave. Like, we don't want the same thing, so I won't be happy here. And that's where I got with Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. I want to win championships. I don't want to just be talked about. I don't want to win 10 games and go home in the first round of the playoffs. I want to win. And after a few decades, it took me way too long, I realized Jerry Jones does not want the same. If they win, he would be thrilled, but he doesn't really care. As long as they're the highest valued team, as long as they're talked about all the time, that's all that he cares about. And speaking of winning titles, the NBA playoffs are fast approaching, and potential playoff teams leading up to the start of playoffs. And today I'm going to continue that with the kind of the number 3, 4 seeds in each conference, because the 3 seed and 4 seed are within 1 game of each other in both conferences. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the 3 and 4 seeds today. So in the East, that's going to be the Knicks and the Cavs. And in the West, it's going to be the Lakers and the Nuggets. So we're going to go ahead and start in the East. The Knicks have a 1-game lead on the Cavs with 4 games left. And the Knicks have been beat down by the Pistons. So holding on to the number 3 seed is pretty important to them. They'll meet the Pistons in the second round if they're the 4 seed and both teams win out. And Detroit has dominated the Knicks in 3 of the games they've played this season. So they definitely don't want to see them. And the Cavs have the easiest remaining schedule in the entire NBA. So I'm curious to see how these last couple games play out and where both teams will end up. Um, Now, Pistons and Cade Cunningham has been hurt, so it might not be the same if they were to play the Knicks in the playoffs. But based on what has been happening this season, the Knicks do not want to see the Pistons at all. Um, and they played last season, and the Knicks barely beat the Pistons in Game 7. So the Pistons are pissed, and they want revenge. So, yeah, that is a matchup I would want to avoid if I was the Knicks as well. The Knicks have a loaded starting five. I mean, Brunson is the leader. He is a baller. And with him and Cat, they have two all-star scorers leading the charge. OG and Mikal Bridges are amazing 3-and-D wing players. And Josh Hart he brings everything else. So, yeah, the one thing is, though, that these starting players are so good that they're having trouble meshing and fitting together, which you would hope in year 2 with this same starting five that they would be better, but it seems like they have not kind of grown together and correctly. Very opposite of what's going on in San Antonio. I talked about that last video and how this Mitch Johnson has everybody gelling. All these amazing, talented players playing together like a cohesive unit, and it seems to be the exact opposite in New York. Moving on to the Cavs, they have the easiest remaining schedule, so it is possible that they leapfrog the Knicks, but the Cavs have a bunch of problems of their own. We just got to see their presumed playoff starting five, and it is not looking fantastic. They brought in James Harden to add scoring, but what it seems to have done is kind of caused Donovan Mitchell to not be as aggressive as normal, and that's not going to work for them. They need Donovan Mitchell to be aggressive. They need that guy to be attacking the rim, because a guy of his stature attacking the rim the way he does is a game changer. It does change momentum. It's important, and they just haven't gelled yet, right? They just traded for James Harden at the deadline, so these are all works in progress. Harden will help provide offense, but his defense is not going to help anybody, and the Cavs do not have a good defense. That is their hugest weakness. Like, they're going to be able to score some points, but they're not going to be able to stop people. And if Donovan isn't aggressive, if he's playing passive, then they might not even score enough points to be able to beat people. They got confidence issues, and I do think the Cavs are going to be looking at an early playoff exit. They have a massive hole at the wing. Can't guard the game's best wings. I think Luka just dropped a 40 spot on him pretty easily. Cavs might be an early playoff exit. Moving to the West, we're going to start with the Lakers. Luka going down is a huge loss. Hamstrings linger. I don't think he'll be at 100% by the end of round 1. And they really need him in round 1. So this is a tough one for me and for the Lakers. My question with them has always been about them making enough stops in the playoffs to win. And with the Luka injury, that's going to be even more in focus, right? Like, Luka's defense is already a struggle. And with the bad hamstring and trying to preserve energy so you can play on offense, like, his defense is going to be non-existent if he's playing in the first round. His D had just been exposed pretty bad within the past, like, week or two. And, yeah, the hamstring injury is not going to help. They also are going to be in a hard matchup with either the Rockets or the Timberwolves. And now that they don't have Luka, I can see them losing both of those series, right? Like, will they be able to put up points to stay with KD and the Rockets when they can't stop KD? Are they going to be able to pull up enough points without Luka against Anthony Edwards? Are they going to be able to stop Anthony Edwards? It's kind of worst case scenario for the Lakers, and I feel terrible for them. LeBron is an all-time great, arguably the best ever. It's been truly amazing to watch this guy play for the last 20-something years. And being off the ball with Luka on the team has been so huge for LeBron. To let him pick his spots. He reads the game so well, and now that he doesn't have to be the ball handler, the majority ball handler all the time, he can kind of just sit there and watch the game, break it down, and make cuts, make moves, and capitalize. But that's all going to change. Now LeBron's going to have to handle the ball a lot more. He's going to be more tired. Like all the energy he's been saving for the playoffs with Luka as the main ball handler, that's all going to be zapped away quickly with LeBron having to carry the load of ball handler for 20, 25, 30 minutes a game. It's, again, worst case scenario for the Lakers, and I'm hoping Luka makes it back quickly. I need to see how he progresses and who they eventually match up against, but I do fear that the Lakers may be going home in the first round. Moving on to the Nuggets. And speaking of injuries, the Joker has looked pretty sluggish since returning from his knee injury. Aaron Gordon's been dealing with hamstring issues all season. But for the first time this year, the Nuggets are looking pretty healthy, and it's the perfect time of year. They are starting to look like they're gelling. Joker's kind of getting his flow back. Denver is first in scoring, first in three-point percentage, offensive rating, first in plenty of other shooting and scoring categories. I'm not going to go into them all. All the injuries they've dealt with this year paved the way for Peyton Watson to become a formidable two-way wing player. The Joker is still the Joker. I know I said he was a little sluggish after the knee injury, but he has always moved pretty sluggishly and dominated while doing so. And he's still the same guy. He's still one of the greatest things to watch on a basketball court. Jamal Murray had his best regular season performance ever and stepped up huge when the Joker went out with an injury. Jamal got his first All-Star nod this year, and he always raises his game in the playoffs, like increasing his numbers across the board every season. And I expect him to do the same. Again, he already did it when the Joker was hurt this year during the regular season. He just dropped a 50-burger the other night. So, like, he's trending in the right direction for the playoffs. And the Nuggets are going to be formidable. The offense can be elite, and they have depth. They got 8, 9 guys they're going to be throwing at you. And they've won it before. They just lost last season in Game 7 to OKC, the eventual champion. And then they went and made very nice roster adjustments, strengthened their team, and are back to try to win again. They're going to be tough. And also looking to rebound from a playoff woe, the Yankees have started off 2026 strong. The Yankees are 7-2. Schlittler, the young pitcher, is dominating. Max Fried got touched up a little bit the other day, but he'll be fine. Ben Rice, the first baseman, is hitting, and that was a big concern. McMahon and third base is still an issue with the bat, but if his defense holds up, the Yankees might be able to weather that storm. Their biggest issue, and I touched on this earlier when I did my division predictions, is the bullpen. And that will be an issue all season, something they're going to have to address at the trade deadline. They need to find reliable arms that they can trust. Doval is not looking like the answer right now. Bednar is pitching way too much right now because they don't trust anybody else. So, yeah, they're going to have to upgrade this at the trade deadline. That's pretty obvious, but we also need to find an in-house answer to this. We need multiple guys in that bullpen. The Yankees need multiple guys in that bullpen. They have a guy named LaGrange in the minor leagues who's touching 102 regularly. He's got some sick movement, and he has the stuff of a closer. So we got to get his mental in the right spot. But that's probably a guy you're going to see get called up for the Yankees midway through the year and maybe have a very important high-leverage late-inning role. Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon will be coming back, and that will most likely push one of the starters to the bullpen, although it'll be in a swingman role, not a late-inning beast that the Yankees do and will need. But that still gives them a solid arm in the bullpen so they can move some other things around. Aaron Judge is still Aaron Judge. And with that being said, the rest of the Yankees offense is starting to look a lot more comfortable on their own. The Yankees have had a team that has looked towards Judge for answers. And this season, it looks like they got some guys that step up to the plate like, nah, I got this. And that's a great thing for the Yankee offense. The LA Dodgers are also 7-2. Ohtani started hitting. He had a couple of rough games to start the season, but he's got 2 homers in the past 3 days. And if you thought the Dodgers were, looking bad, they even have Andy Pagés hitting over 400, which is crazy. Their weakness last year was pitching, especially the bullpen, especially late innings. But the Dodgers, it looks like they've answered that. Edwin Diaz is the best closer in baseball. Not fair that they got him, but they seem to get everybody that they try to get now. And Edwin Diaz, his trumpet magic fits very well in LA. It looks good. It sounds good. It feels right. Tanner Scott, who was their big addition last season, last free agency, and he was supposed to fill that closer late inning role for them. He's adjusting well this year. He's got his mojo back. Last year he was returning from an injury, so that probably played a little bit into his struggles. But now without the pressure of closing in LA, Tanner Scott is filling in fantastically into a setup role. And with Alex Vesia also in high leverage situations, the Dodgers kind of have their bullpen in a much better place than last year. And they won the championship last year. So watch out for the Dodgers. They're not going anywhere. They're also going to get back some bullpen arms soon with Gratterall, Stewart, and Phillips coming back. So, yes, that weakness they had last year is going to be a strength this year. Another Dodger strength. They are looking to win the NL West. They expect to do that. But they're not trying to set any records for the most wins. They really are in a spot where they know they have the talent. They know they should win. They need to just figure out their lineup, their rotation, keep everybody healthy, keep everybody warm, but not overdoing it. And that's the world the Dodgers live in right now. It's it reminds me of like Tim Duncan Spurs or the Lakers with Shaq, where they would just sit them for 20 games a year because they knew they needed them in the playoffs, and they were going to make the playoffs. That's the Dodgers right now. They are an older roster, so that's, all the resting, all the monitoring, and that will help them in the long run. Dave Roberts is the perfect man for that. And the Dodgers organization is perfect for that as well. They will let the science and the numbers dictate what they do. Staying in the National League, the Pittsburgh Pirates are looking tough. They had a very troubling start to the season with Paul Skeens getting jacked, but their offense stuck in that game. Watching their ace, who is unhittable, get just roughed up, watching the defense behind him drop the ball, the offense kept going. They kept humming and almost won that game for the Pirates. And that bodes well for them. Connor Griffin is here to stay now. Guy's going to be a stud. O'Neal Cruz was the guy dropping the ball for Skeens in game 1 of the season. He does make the outfield interesting with the way he plays, but he is making some huge strides offensively, and the team will go as O'Neal Cruz's bat goes, I think. The new addition, O'Hearn, is playing well. Brandon Lowe is locking down the keystone. They also went out in free agency and picked up a couple pitchers in Soto and Yakirity, who have been pretty nice additions so far. And they now have the talent in Pittsburgh. More importantly, they now believe they can win. And the division is winnable. Something that I've noticed about Paul Skeens is he seems to have some leadership characteristics and qualities. And I'll just point this out. Like, he got bashed the first game of the season. His team, the defense behind him, sucked and really hurt him. And Paul Skeens didn't get mad. He calmly said, like, he was frustrated. He didn't like it. He didn't like to lose. But quickly talked about how his team stuck around, how his offense put up points, put up runs, kept them in the game. Pointed out all the positives in their couple losses this season instead of focusing on any of the negatives. And Pittsburgh, the Pirates, that's kind of all they ever do is focus on the negatives. So this is a huge step. Just having the belief and the leadership is going to go a long way for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, staying in the same division, the Milwaukee Brewers are still there, keeping the Pirates at bay. I thought, I said the Cubs would win the division in my divisional predictions and that the Pirates and the Brewers would be wild cards. I don't feel too terrible about those predictions yet. We're only 9 games into the baseball season. There are 162 games, so, no reason to freak out right now about my predictions. But I don't know why I thought the Brewers were going to take a step back. I reluctantly kind of put them as the last wild card in the National League. And then I immediately was like, I don't know why I'm doing this, because they always have the talent. They always have the young studs ready to get called up. Yeah, they don't spend a lot of money. They do Moneyball the right way. They led the league in run differential last year, won their division, and don't spend any money. The Tampa Bay Rays and Cleveland Guardians also play Moneyball. But they go through rebuilds. They have rebuilding years where they don't make the playoffs. They really aren't that good of a team. Milwaukee always seems to put out a team that's going to win between 85 and 90 ball games every single season and be right on the cusp of the playoffs, wild card, sometimes divisional winner. It's fascinating and fantastic, and I need to not bet against the Milwaukee Brewers when it comes to regular season baseball. And then they got Jackson Chourio on the injured list right now. So when he comes back, they're going to have an all-star, 5-tool player walking back in the locker room with high self-esteem, high confidence, and that is just going to carry through that locker room. Very excited for baseball this year. So on that note, I would like to say thank you all for joining me on JetKoa Sports. I'm excited to get out of here and go finish that national championship game. I won a great game. I did say I think Michigan will win, but I am not too concerned with that. I just want to see a great game. And that's what I want to see in pretty much all sporting events, except for Yankee games. Yankee games, I want to see a great game that the Yankees win. So, yeah, please remember to subscribe. And subscribe if you like my takes. Or leave a comment if you want to argue with me, and we can make that happen as well. Or if you need to watch a little bit more content from me before you make your decision, you can check out another video that I'll have linked up here. Otherwise, have a great week, world, and keep balling, y'all.